Vandalia Christian School. Man,
Hello, Mr. Durham.
Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on the championship.
It was awesome.
That's part of the net right there.
That's the net right there, baby.
I remember one time I was in a tournament and cut down some of the net, and I cut it down and brought it home and had it there for years. That's something you'll keep for a long, long time.
The other night I tied it on my finger and went to sleep with it, and I woke up next morning, my hand was hurting. I looked down there and it was blue. I had it so tight, I didn't want to take it off.
You got to save that piece. That's a good place to put it, too.
Well, I just did it just to come out here with it.
That's a good idea. Very good idea. What did it mean to get that title to the Nelson family? That's a family accomplishment there.
It was awesome. Probably one of the better moments of my life. Just to be able to help my son coach. I was actually his last resort. He had several other people he tried to get to coach, and it's time consuming. And my job, I don't get off till like 3 o'clock, and trying to be at practice at 4:30. I got an hour drive home, getting to every practice, and then till 6:30, and then away games. And I actually told him no twice. Then he asked me again, and I says, well, let me try. And the first practice I went to, I said, I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean, the boys just were responsive to what he was telling them, and Ryan is so organized. I mean,
that means a whole lot.
It really is. He goes to a practice, and he's got everything laid down on a piece of paper, how many minutes they're going to do on each drill, and it's just everything's precise, and he doesn't vary from it. And
what's a typical practice like for you guys?
It's rough.
Yeah.
They start out with stretching. They got so many minutes for stretching. Then they do drills. If they mess up, then they got to do suicides, and they got to do a lot of running. I had to get on him a couple of times because I said, man, you're going to wear these boys out. He said, Dad, they're young. They can do it.
I heard a couple of times he said he had to do a few push-ups occasionally too.
Oh, yeah. If he didn't box out, 10 push-ups right down on the floor. And a couple games I was going to run with him a little bit. About 2 times down the floor, I was done.
You're ready to.
I mean, I'm 62 years old. I said I can't hang in with these young guys.
But you're kind of like the guy back in the movie Hoosiers, kind of like the guy who was up in with the team. Kind of like his name was Shooter. Remember Shooter back in those days? Did you watch Hoosiers?
I think so. Yes, sir.
The father figured the father one of the players joined the team, kind of ran the team there a little bit. I think that was Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper.
That's who it was. Yes, sir.
Dennis Hopper. You kind of like he comes back on board and joins the team, helps that, and I mean it helped that team. It's bound to help this team this year too.
Well, I was just really the motivator. I don't have a real basketball background.
I'm going to ask you about that.
I played, I graduated in 72. In 70, I played one season on the school team. And I spent a lot of time on the bench. They had bigger players. I would mostly, if I come into a game to get a rebound, I was 6'1". And
that helps.
Basketball wasn't my thing. I mean, I love watching basketball, college basketball.
You've always had a love of the game.
Tar Heels. I've always loved the game, but I just never been involved in it. And when Ryan asked me to do it, I said, Ryan, I really don't know that much about it.
But I guess we got to say now, stop in the middle. There's other ways that you can help.
Oh, sure. I was more of a motivator. I get the boys pumped in the locker room. I would do a lot of, if I seen them doing something wrong, I'd let Ryan do the coaching.
It's good to have a second set of eyes out there.
And that's what I was.
Yeah.
During the game, if I seen something we needed to do, I suggested to Ryan, and he wouldn't hesitate, and he'd do it. And it worked out great for us.
We've seen some success with father and son combinations around the area. Over at Page, you got Matt Harder, who's the head coach. His dad, John Harder, helping him. A couple years ago up at Northern Guilford, Ryan Freeman had his dad on board helping him. It works pretty well.
I've had a great year. I really have. Like I say, it's just a blessing watching him coach these boys. They showed so much respect for him. First 2 or 3 practices I went to, and a couple of the first 2 games, I thought, this team might have potential, but
what you saw back then, did you expect?
I really didn't. I'll be honest. Well, when I first came to the gym and seen it, I thought there was a JV team.
Okay.
And I thought, Ryan, is this your team? He said, yeah, this is it.
Might be a little bit too early, huh?
Really, I mean, but then after about 3 or 4 games, I bought in with them also.
When did it start to come together? When did all this come together for you?
Probably about the 5th or 6th game. I seen that they really had a lot of potential. We had to get a couple of them to buy into his system. And once they bought into it, and we've always preached this, me and Ryan preach this all year long, that offense wins ball games, but defense will win a championship.
I saw those quotes.
That defense, I mean, I was big on the box. It's kind of funny that Bryson didn't like box out. I watched a few videos when Ryan asked me to do this just to kind of get up on a few things, and I watched a video on how a guy was teaching college how to box out. So I kind of used that and implemented that. Ryan let me do it. And Defense, defense, defense. That's what I preached. I mean, I didn't holler too much. I'd get excited in the game, and I'd kind of motivate the boys. I said, come on, defense. And I'd put my hands out. I said, get your hands up. And in the locker room, you know, I'd give them a little motivational speech every now and then. But it's just, it was all Ryan. It was all Ryan and that team. That team just came together so strong.
When you look at a team like Virginia, how much defense they had against Wake Forest, I think. Wake Forest, the least amount of points Wake Forest has ever scored over there in Winston-Salem. That Virginia team, they put up 51 points and win nearly every game.
Yeah, I know. It's unreal. I never thought they'd be that good this year. I really didn't.
Pleasant surprise.
I thought my Tar Heels was going to do something. They ain't looking too good, are they?
What about Noah Dunn? Noah Dunn, almost like a Kennedy Meeks, almost like, what about that?
I'm going to tell you what, he's awesome. He's so thick, and he's so big. You get the ball down low, there's nobody can stop him.
You guys got a good foundation with Noah
We got
Dunn.
a real good foundation with him. And a couple other players
Plus
are
you got
coming
Cameron
in.
Austin back next year, too. I think maybe one more. You're right. He's a junior this year.
Yeah, Cameron's going to be point guard. Yeah, he'll be back. Matt Hobbs will be back.
Yeah.
Matt's short, but I'm going to tell you what, he's one of the biggest hustlers, and he plays defense more than you've ever seen anybody play defense.
How about this kid you guys had a couple years ago? Never got to have this kid in, and he's already graduating and gone now, but he was a big part of the program. I wouldn't say it was a big part of maybe when the team's success on the floor, just a big part of the program. This kid, Will Zimmerman, what was that kid?
See, I didn't know him that
You didn't
well.
get to see
No,
that
sir.
well. That was kind of more in the Tommy Adams era.
Yeah, it was Tommy's era.
Yeah.
I went to a lot of Ryan's games when he was doing the girls, and then when they did the JVs. I went and watched Tommy a few times, but I just really wasn't involved in that part of it.
What about this kid that came with us tonight, Jared Talley? What can you tell us about Mr. Talley?
Jared is a great kid. I'm going to tell you, his background
He's been through
is
a
so
lot.
sad. He's
It's
been through a
unreal.
lot. We had to get him to buy in. And once he bought in, tried to explain to him, he likes to score points, and he can score in a heartbeat. I mean, the boy's got a three-point shot that is, when he's on, he's on. But when he's off, he's off. And when he's off, we need him to pass the ball. And he bought into it, and he bought into it big time.
It's one of those things, if the shot's not going, give it up, get it to somebody
Give
else.
it up. You know, it's hard to say those are your points. They're not your points, but yet we scored. I mean,
Right.
he passed the ball. He had 5 or 6, 7, 8 assists
Well,
in
you're
the
a
game.
big Carolina man. I'm sure you picked up a lot of stuff, maybe just indirectly watching Dean Smith and what he did over the years.
I tried to get around to do the 4 corners. He said that would get.
That wouldn't have been a bad idea.
So-
But the things that Coach Dean Smith did, everybody, he indirectly or directly affected everybody in all of basketball.
I was living in Florida when I first came up to live in North Carolina. I got transferred I worked for Trammellville Trailers. And the first game I watched college basketball was Carolina and Duke. And I fell in love with Carolina so bad. And Mike Krzyzewski's probably one of the greatest coaches there ever was. But just something about Dean Smith and watching him coach a team, I fell in love with the team. And that's why I've been a Tar Heel fan ever since we've lived here.
What was it like, go back to last Saturday afternoon when it was all over and you guys could actually take a big, deep breath, let the air out, and exhale, and enjoy that champion? What was that like?
It was extraordinary.
Ever been around
couldn't
anything
even-
like that before?
No, I was involved in football. We won a 4A state championship when I was at Lower Richland High School. I played football for 4 years in high school, and we won a Lower State championship, and it was awesome. But that was so many years ago. I mean, but this was just, it was amazing just to be a part of it. When we won, everybody else was over in a circle, and I was just kind of standing there. I almost felt like Jim Valvano looking for somebody to hug, you know.
find somebody,
I just kind of stood there, and I said, I can't believe that we've won this. So I run over there real quick, put my hand in the huddle, and when I was cutting the net down, I thought, man, this is just unreal.
It's kind of interesting, too, to be up there by yourself, cutting that piece of net down, and everybody else is around you. Here you go. You're right there in that moment.
Well, it was kind of funny. Real quick story. Ryan, before that game, he says, Dad, he says, I don't mean to jump the gun or anything, but he says, how do we cut that net down if we happen to win? And I says, you know, that's a good idea, Ryan, because I really don't know
There have been
either.
some teams that have had a lot of success over the years. They've always carried around a little pair of those scissors, I guess.
Well, there's a certain way you cut it, top
Yeah,
to bottom,
yeah,
to get
yeah,
the string,
yeah.
and then when you're done, it's just you got the rest of it to hang over the trophy.
Right,
So we
exactly.
weren't really sure. We kind of laughed at each other. I said, I got no clue. But it didn't really sink in until we got on that bus and we was riding home. And I just kind of sat there and thought about it for a
Did
moment.
anybody pass the
And-
net around, put it over their head, and wear the net, or pass the plaque, the trophy around? I mean,
Yeah, we kind of handed
Yeah,
the trophies.
that feels good, that
It
feels
was
good.
awesome. Then I really got to go. We had a pep rally, the other day, and I got to go to the pep rally.
Felt pretty good.
I'll tell you what really was special to me. I'm sitting over on the other side of the gym. The boys are over on the bench, and all of a sudden Bryson and a couple of them walked over and said, "Hey, you coming over here and sit with us?" So I sat there, and one of the boys went to Ryan and said, "We as a team decided something that we're not going to play next year unless your dad's assistant."
Wow. Felt pretty good, huh?
That just makes you feel great.
Wow,
I got along with every one of them boys great, and it was a lot of fun.
And you had told Ryan, I think you were a one and done deal, maybe going in, but you may be a one and no one done deal.
I heard that.
There, right?
Yeah, as long as he'll let me coach with him, I'm there.
It's been a lot of fun.
I was proud. Yes, sir. It has been great.
What do you do now during the off season? Are you brushing up on some of the things for next year already, or what's your off season going to be like?
Ryan gave me a book, and it's got everything on there, all of our offensive plays. He said, "Dad, I want you to brush up on this." All year long, I've been praying that he wouldn't get kicked out of a game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have a sense
That's the
of
same
what...
thing shooters said in the I think a couple of times Dennis Hopper would have to take over the team because Gene Hackman got kicked out on purpose. You know, did that ever happen with you?
No. I kept telling him, that's why I had him on a leash. Every time he got just, I said, "Ryan, sit right here."
Yeah.
I said, "Don't say another word." And he did get a technical in one game, and he had to sit beside me, and he was a nervous wreck because he never sits. You know, he's walking
There's
and
a coach's
trolling.
box, and he wore that box.
Oh, he'd go outside that box. 5 times I had to grab him by the arm and say, "Come back over here."
Was it just you and Ryan pretty much running that team?
That was it.
Two-man staff.
Two-man
He
staff.
got the job.
Now, Bryce's dad was a scorer.
Yeah.
But every now and then he'd get up and say something to Ryan, during halftime or something, say, "Don't change nothing. What you're doing is good," or, tell Bryson to shoot a little bit more. And he was great. We just, it's hard to explain. It really does. I mean, I don't even know if it's sunk in now.
You had to go back and do it all over again. Would you change anything at all?
No, sir. I wouldn't change a thing.
It's all been worth it.
It's just everything's been worth it. The time that I was able to take a couple of days vacation to go to the tournament. That was just awesome. Just the time that I got to spend with these boys and what they meant to me and what they did this not for individual honors. That's the great thing about these young guys. They did it for the school. And I mean, that's a blessing to see these boys the way they reacted. And I'm gonna tell you what, I almost had to, when the game was over, the championship game, they were hollering and jumping so bad, and the other team was already lined up. I said, "Come on, guys, now let's go get in line, because them guys were just standing there,
waiting.
So they were waiting for us,
That was a losing team,
and,
right?
Yeah, it was a
They're
losing
feeling
team.
rough there,
Well,
yeah.
sure, and we're celebrating. I mean, it's a
line.
special moment, but still, you gotta, act like we've been there.
Got to bring it together.
Yeah, act like you've been there.
Exactly. If you were on that deserted island, you got to play somebody one-on-one. Your basketball game, you said, is a little bit experienced over the years, seasoned veteran you are. Who would you play one-on-one in basketball to get off that island?
Ryan Nelson.
Got to play. You beat him.
I don't think he's ever beat me, but maybe 2 or 3 times.
Wow. How many games over the years?
I'm a low post player.
You look like you.
And I got a left hook and a fall back.
Wow.
Bank, I always bank it.
Little fadeaway
Off the
bank
corner.
shot.
Fadeaway bank, he could never stop
And
it.
you said left?
I'm left-handed.
Wow. That's a tough shot to stop.
And I got that little baby hook, and he couldn't stop it.
Man. Who's your favorite Carolina player over the years?
Michael Jordan.
Without a doubt.
Yes, sir. And James Worthy.
You still remember that game? I guess they were playing Georgetown that year, and the ball was thrown away to Jordan. And yeah.
Yes, sir. I do. Yeah, he's got to be the greatest player to play the game. But James Worthy was really instrumental in a lot of the when he went with when he turned pro.
Exactly.
I mean, if he didn't have him, Lakers did great with him. He was just a great player. I just love watching him play too. So
you go to November 1st, 2015. You just finished up there in February 2015 state title. November 1st, 2015. Where do you see this Vandalia Christian School Viking team at next season?
I think we're going to be just as good, to be honest with you. Ryan's got a couple players on the JV, and they got a real good JV program. That coach here really gets these boys ready to play. And he's got 2 young boys. One boy's point guard, and he's got a real tall kid that's probably 6'4", that I think he's going to turn into be somebody too.
How tall do you think this Noah Dunn? How tall will he be by the time
he's probably 6'2" now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He might be 6'4". His brother, I think 6'4", 6'4 and a half, 6'5".
He's a golfer?
Yeah.
He's a tall golfer.
Right, he is.
Mr. Tim Nelson,